This is the One Big Thought Podcast.
Welcome to the One Big Thought Podcast. Really excited that you join me on this particular episode as we are going to finish up a multi-part episode podcast around inspiration versus frustration. Before we do that though, I just want to thank our host church, Crossroads Fellowship, the wonderful church in Raleigh, North Carolina, where I am the senior pastor, for allowing us and providing the opportunity to do this podcast. And I really do mean this when I say that if there's anything that you see that we have or we're doing at Crossroads that can help you in your journey, whether it's in leadership or in your business, especially in your ministry, please make sure you reach out to us. You can go to our website, crossroads.org, check out all that we have, and you can send any questions to info@crossroads.org, and we'd love to help you, partner with you in whatever way that we can. Well, here we go. We're going to jump in now to part 5 of the final episode of Inspiration versus Frustration. Today, we're going to jump into fruits of the Spirit in an inspirational-driven leader versus toxic traits in a frustration-driven leader. You know, a healthy person thriving in inspiration, they're going to exhibit the fruit of the Spirit. You know, fruit of the Spirit is described in Galatians 5:22-23. It says, "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, goodness, kindness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such things there is no law." These fruits serve as a visible indicator of a spiritual health and connection with God, where in contrast, a toxic person living in frustration will display the opposite traits, reflecting their struggle with negative emotions and their lack of spiritual well-being. In other words, as we look to ourselves, so let's make it personal. If I look to myself, and one way I can tell that I am a healthy, inspired leader is that those fruits of the Spirit are going to be visibly evident in the way that I communicate, the way that I talk to people, the way I care for other people, the way that I minister, the way that I lead. All those things are going to be on display. When I'm not healthy, then toxic traits are going to display. So here we go. Let's jump into the comparison in this episode as we wrap up inspiration versus frustration. Let's talk about the comparison of the fruits of the Spirit versus toxic traits. So the first one is love. That's the fruit of the Spirit. The toxic trait is resentment. In inspiration-driven leaders who are grounded in love, they foster a sense of belonging, of trust, and camaraderie with all their team. They are committed to building each other's up, celebrating their success, offering support during difficult times. These environments of love and mutual respect encourage team members to grow, take risks, and contribute fully to the mission. Where in contrast, frustration-driven leaders will consume themselves and others by resentment, which means they may isolate themselves from their team, creating a culture of suspicion and animosity. Their negative attitude can hinder collaboration, impede progress, diminish the overall impact of the ministry. Recognizing and addressing resentment is crucial for leaders to build a healthy, love-centered community that thrives and serves effectively. The second fruit is joy, and it's joy versus bitterness. Leaders operating out of an inspiration experience joy, not in the accomplishments and milestones, but also in the day-to-day journey of serving God and other people. And you know, what I love about joy is infectious. It encourages team members to approach their work with enthusiasm, a sense of purpose, and a joy leader can create inspiration, innovation, the willingness to tackle challenges head on. On the other hand, a leader who is entrenched in bitterness, that's the toxic side of joy, will focus only on obstacles, only on setbacks, leading the team to adopt a negative mindset. So this negativity can stifle creativity, it can hinder problem solving, and ultimately prevent the ministry from reaching full potential. So embracing joy as a leader allows for a more optimistic, solution-oriented approach that fosters growth and success. The third one is peace versus anxiety. When inspiration-driven leaders encounter challenges or uncertainties, they rely on their faith and trust in God's plan, allowing them to maintain a sense of inner peace. This calm demeanor enables them to think clearly, make informed decisions that navigate difficult situations with wisdom and grace. And their composure under pressure provides resources and reassurance and stability for the entire team at hand. Conversely, frustration-driven leaders who grapple with anxiety may become overwhelmed by worry, leading to indecision, paralysis, hasty decision making. And this anxiety can spread to the team, creating a tense and unstable environment. By cultivating a sense of peace, leaders can foster resilience, adaptivity, and confidence within their ministry. The fourth one is the fruit is patience versus the toxic side, which is obviously impatience. So patience is an invaluable quality for inspiration-driven leaders. It enables them to wait on God's timing, trust His plan, even when circumstances seem challenging or unclear. Patient leaders understand the importance of personal and team growth, allowing space for learning, reflection, and adaptation. The patients help create supportive environments that encourage team members to take risks, learn from mistakes, and develop their skills. Or in contrast, the frustration-driven leader will exhibit impatience, demand immediate results, pressure their team to meet unrealistic expectations, or react poorly to setbacks. This impatience can create a culture of stress, burnout, fear of failure. So embracing patience as a leader is vital to building a nurturing and growth-oriented ministry. Number 5, halfway there, kindness versus harshness. Inspiration-driven leaders who prioritize kindness create atmospheres of empathy, understanding, and encouragement. Their compassionate approach fosters open communication, allowing team members to share their ideas, concerns, struggles without fear of judgment or criticism. This supportive environment enables the team to work together effectively and addresses challenges collaboratively. In the contrast, frustrated-driven leaders who display harshness, they create toxic culture characteristics by criticism, blame, lack of empathy. Team members may feel discouraged from speaking up or sharing their thoughts, leading to disengagement, dissatisfaction, a diminished sense of purpose. By practicing kindness, leaders can build strong, collaborative, resilient teams that can overcome obstacles together. Number 6, goodness versus selfishness. Inspiration-driven leaders committed to goodness seek to align their actions and decisions with God's will and the best interests of their community. Prioritizing the needs of others, demonstrating integrity, honesty, and a servant's heart, their commitment to goodness really creates a sense of trust, respect within the team, and encourages others to strive for a higher standard of conduct. In contrast, frustration-driven leaders who prioritize selfish interests may focus on personal gain, personal status, recognition, building their own brand, often at the expense of the team and ministry's overall well-being. So this self-centered approach can lead to dysfunction, disunity, a loss of focus on the true mission. However, by embracing goodness and putting others' needs first, leaders can create a strong, unified, and mission-driven ministry. Number 7, faithfulness versus inconsistency. Inspiration-driven leaders demonstrate the faithfulness to their calling, commitments, and responsibilities, providing a sense of stability and direction within their ministry. Their steadfast dedication encourages team members to remain committed, engaged, and accountable in their roles. Moreover, faithful leaders serve as role models, inspire other people to be reliable and responsible in their work. On the other hand, frustrated-driven leaders struggle with inconsistency. They might waver in their dedication, causing confusion, insecurity, lack of direction, doubting their calling to ministry, for example. This inconsistency can lead to disorganization, inefficiency, lack of progress by the ministry. However, by exemplifying faithfulness, leaders can foster a culture of commitment, focus, and accountability. Number 8, come on, 2 more, you're with me still. 2 more, here we go. Gentleness versus aggressiveness. Inspiration-driven leaders approach difficult situations and conversations with gentleness, understanding, and wisdom. Their measured and compassionate approach allows them to navigate conflicts, disagreements, and sensitive issues without escalating tensions or damaging their relationships. Team members feel comfortable sharing their thoughts and concerns, knowing that their leader will listen and respond with grace. However, in contrast, frustration-driven leaders who exhibit aggressiveness may alienate their team members, create discord, hinder the resolution of conflict. Their confrontational demeanor can stifle open communication and trust, leading to disengagement and lack of collaboration. Aggressive leaders, sometimes they really love and embrace conflict, for example, in an unhealthy way. However, by embodying gentleness, leaders can foster a culture of open dialogue, mutual respect, and conflict resolution. Okay, here we go. The last one, number 9, the last fruit versus the last toxic trait. Self-control versus impulsiveness. Inspiration-driven leaders exercise self-control in their thoughts, words, and actions, ensuring they align with their values, beliefs, and objectives. This discipline allows them to make thoughtful decisions, maintain healthy boundaries, and navigate challenges effectively. Their self-control also serves as an example for team members, encouraging them to be mindful and disciplined in their work. In contrast, the frustration-driven leader who acts impulsively, they're going to make rash decisions without considering potential consequences, leading to misunderstandings, unintended negative outcomes, loss of credibility. Impulsive behaviors can create environments of unpredictability, instability within their team. So by cultivating self-control, leaders can create a stable, focused, effective ministry that really achieves the goal and positively impacts those it serves. So here we go. By cultivating the fruit of the Spirit, inspiration-driven leaders create a positive and uplifting environment that fosters growth, unity, and fulfillment. Conversely, frustrated-driven leaders exhibit toxic traits that can harm their ministry, harm their relationship, harm their spiritual well-being, harm their leadership growth. And so we have to acknowledge the difference and the highlights between the fruit of the Spirit and the toxic trait, pursuing a healthy, inspirational-driven approach to ministry and to leadership. Well, there we have it. That's it. That's part 5. Let me wrap this up. So the distinction between inspiration-driven and frustration-driven leadership has profound implications for the success and well-being of a ministry, of a business, of leadership. Leaders who embrace inspiration and cultivate the fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control, create an uplifting and supportive environment that fosters growth, unity, and fulfillment. So we got to prioritize that spiritual health, maintain a strong connection with God, and inspiration-driven leaders can effectively navigate the challenges and lead their team to achieve their mission with grace and resiliency. And what we just talked about, on the other hand, leaders who allow frustration to dictate their approach, they're going to exhibit all those toxic traits in their ministry, in relationships, and well-being. We have to recognize and address those negative tendencies. And it's crucial for leaders, especially leaders who seek to transition from frustration-driven mindset to an inspirational one, focusing on calling. Remember that seed, that hunger, that holy disconnect, the purpose, the hunger for God to move. Leaders can reignite their passion and commitment to serve God and others wholeheartedly. And in doing so, they can create thriving ministry, thriving businesses, and not only achieve the goal, but also nurture and see spiritual growth happen and what the well-being of everybody else involved. So we've got to embrace the power of inspiration. Embrace that power. Ignite your passion for God's purpose. Lead with the transformative fruits of the Spirit to cultivate a thriving, impactful, and spiritually fulfilling ministry that honestly transcends expectations. It really does. It kind of moves beyond that and to impactful, spiritually fulfilling ministry that transcends all those expectations and leaves an enduring legacy of love and of service to everybody that it impacts. Well, hey, thank you again for joining me on this 5-part mini-series, sort of, on inspiration versus frustration. I hope that if you've not listened to all 5 parts, you go back and start listening to it as each one continues to build on the other one. And I hope that today brings it all in. You know, at the end of the day, this is spiritual. At the end of the day, it's a condition of my heart and my soul. And if my heart and soul is anchored in who Christ is, then I'm going to display those inspirational tendencies even during frustrated moments. What I hope you don't hear me say is just live in this fairy tale la la land where everything's fine and nothing's bad and nothing evil happens and everything's great. Listen, we know that's not true. We know that we are going to be frustrated. The key is not to live in that frustration very long, but make that mental shift to get back over, make that spiritual shift to get back over to the inspirational side. So don't feel the tension of, oh my gosh, I'm frustrated, so now I'm a terrible leader. No. I think sometimes as leaders, that frustration can cause us to get innovative. That can cause us to be creative. It can cause us to really think differently But we can't live in frustration. You've got to get out of frustration. And I just know that whatever step you want to put it, that mental and spiritual shift has to happen. Otherwise, we're going to live as a frustrated leader. Well, as always, as we said earlier, if there's anything that we can do for you, if you're frustrated and you need a little help and you need a little inspiration, or if you see anything that we're doing that we can help you in your journey, in your ministry with, make sure you reach out once again at info@crossroads.org. Visit our website, crossroads.org. Take a look around. If you see anything that we have that we can give to you, just let us know, and we love to see you succeed in your journey as well. Thanks again for being with us, and look forward to having you again on our next episode of the One Big Thought podcast.